Hey, what's up? I put out a little request out on Twitter because since Bitcoin was getting a little boring with its consolidation, I asked for some requests, and it looks like Ethereum is one of them that people want to be looking at right now because I got a lot of requests for that. So I thought I'd do a quick video, and I'll just draw it on the fly as we're going. Uh, Ethereum, US dollar. I'm just going to look at the 12 hour because I'm looking for some possible trading activity here. Uh, the exponential moving average I have on here is the 55. We had a little bit of a test of support here and didn't really filter a break. Didn't filter a break there, but it did here. Went bearish, tested as resistance, and tested as resistance here. But then we broke resistance, and of course we broke the upside here. So first sign is that we're on the other side of the moving average, which is a good start. Uh, but I'm gonna just kind of go along and do a quick thing here. I'm gonna put a trend line in here. I'm looking at this point right here, looking at this point right here, and if you kind of draw those in and get that kind of, let me take this freaking magnet off there. If you get kind of touch on the points there, we get the trend line in here. Had it's some support or some resistance here, and here, and then it finally broke through on this candle to the upside, and then gave us some validation there. So that this would be the break of the trend line right in this spot. One of the quick things that I do, when I look at a trend line break like this, since we're going from a bullish to bearish and then back to bullish, one of the things I like to do is just a quick kind of a target to look for. Take the furthest distance from the trend line, which would be this point, and take this rate of change, and just kind of clone that. Um, just clone that arrow so you can get the same distance. Move it over to the breakpoint right about there, and this could be a possible target off of this move to the upside. So as long as the bulls stay in control here, that could be a target to look for. So let's see if we're on our way to that target or not. Uh, First of all, one of the things I'll do is I'll take a Fibonacci retracement off of this high. Here, I can bring the magnet back so we can get it on right. The high here all the way down to the low, right at this point right there. Um, the interesting thing here would be if this trend line broke on the break of this with the bullishness coming into the market here. The objective would be a retracement back to the 61.8% level, or pretty daggone close to it at 287.21. Uh, so that's first thing to look at. But let's look at what's going on in the near term here. Uh, I could another Fibonacci to look at would be going the other direction. So you look at the break right here to the upside, and we're starting to make highs here. You kind of want to go back to the previous high, or at least start there off of this test of the trend line. So if we do a Fibonacci retracement off of this point right here, and then work our way down, and I'm going to rough it in right there. Uh, the 61.8% level for the one we're looking at right now is at 210.99, and as you can see, it's starting to trade. It's starting to trade above it on this 12-hour candle. Uh, One thing I'd like to do, or I'd like to see, is I talked about filtering in the video a couple videos ago. It might have been last video, where I like to see at least three consecutive closes above a line to give it a break. So right now we're waiting on the 12-hour candle. We got another hour and 48 minutes, but I'd like to see three 12-hour candles consecutively close above this line, or I'd like to see something that closes at least 3% above the line to make this support. So give it a support and resistance flip. 3% of 211. We're probably looking at like 217, 218, somewhere right around in there in my head. So if this gets up above, if this candle closes at 217 or higher, then we can make that support, and then I would be buying on this break to where you can start looking at some of the other levels on the upside. But psychology is if it breaks the 61.8% level here and becomes support, people will be buying it on dips and looking for a full retracement opportunity to 240. So that's going to be the first leg I'm going to look at to see if this comes to fruition. Another thing we can look at real quick, we can pull up directional movement or the ADX and see what's going on. And of course, the 12-hour, it's kicking up higher, of course, because we've been going, gangbusters here ever since we broke this moving average. So this is another thing to consider to watch. If you flip it over to a daily real quick, let's see what the ADX looks like on the daily. I like it. I like the ADX flipping right here. We got the move to the upside here, but one thing that I like is this ADX is starting to turn and staying inside the 20 range. Right now it's actually turning up around 24 and going higher. So that's a good sign on the daily for the bulls. So let's go back to our chart. So I'm looking for a possible break here of the 61.8% level. If it doesn't, one thing I would want to look for is a Fibonacci retracement going this other direction. So say the high is in right now and it's going to retrace back. Let's take this one out of here so you can see what's going on. One of the areas that I look at first is that 38.2 because I'd like to see a shallow fib retracement. So if this comes back and doesn't break that 61.8% level that we were looking at there, I would look at up relatively close to 200, or that the 38.2% is at 196.91. I'd be looking at around 200 to buy, and then keep an eye on indicators because if this drops down and the momentum stays pretty good for the bulls, that buying on dip would work, and most likely kind of push us a little higher and get us past that 61.8%. Hopefully the 61.8% is going to break this time around, which would be really good. And that way we can get the thing rolling up until a full retracement. Because when I say the psychology is that it goes into a full retracement is just try to be empathetic and say if you were a seller along this line and trying to hold this as resistance and momentum just pushes right through and you still want to be a seller, you're gonna get out because it's probably going against your wallet pretty good, and then you're gonna take a back seat and you're going to look for the next couple of levels to say, okay, where would be a good spot to get back in short, or to sell the market. And with the test of this trend line and just above the moving average, this whole like order block area right in here would be the kind of area I'd look for. So if you were a seller here, you're probably going to wait to build your camp back up around in this range. So if this does break, we can get a nice $20-$30 move and make a nice percentage. Now what would happen is if this does break and goes up here, then what we would do is we'd probably just say it goes to the 240 on the full retracement, and this is just for shits and giggles here. But if you look at the move from the low, if it goes up to 240, just say it goes up to around that level right there. Let's see, get 240. Let's see. No, that's not going to work. All right. Let's skip that because it's not even worth it. But if it goes up to 240, most likely you're going to come back down to this 211 and keep it as support. So if it goes up to 240, you're looking at, you're probably looking at a move like this, and then you can put in another arrow, and then it would kind of come down to this support level, which was sort of significant. Nah, not too much, but this 23.6% on this long one to the upside. Or to the downside was right around 211, and then if this works out the way the pattern should, it should bounce here and work its way up to the full retracement. So as long as the internal momentum's there, and you can also kind of draw in a trend line here, just off. You can kind of keep this as a guide. That would be kind of the area I'd be looking at for Maybe this comes down and tests on this trend line and then works its way back up. And then this could be an area to kind of look at some internal indicators to see if this level is going to hold for it to go to the upside. So uh, I don't know. That was just a quick look at Ethereum. I like it. I am a little hesitant on this 211 right now, on the 61.8% level. If we get the candle to close above 217, then I'm looking at 240 as a target. If not, look for a little bit of a dip back and buy here. But then I still think 240 would be a target. We just might be buying a little bit lower, or we're going to be buying at 217 on a close. And that's because you would want to get the trend as your friend kind of deal, and that support would kind of hold at 211 if we can get up there high enough to get the support and resistance flip. So that was just a quick video. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing, because I just did it on the fly. I like it. Let's stay long Ethereum, and let's try to get that 240 target. All right. Again, not financial advice. If you guys are seeing anything different, support and resistance wise, throw it out on Twitter. I'm at FiboSwanny. I'd like to see what you're thinking. See if anybody else has a 240 target or not, and that would be awesome. Peace out. Happy trading.